Right. Here today, Islam, showing you your mental capacity to level of appropriate persona. You'll understand that when I finish talking to you today. But we're talking about law today. What is law? And artificiality law, artificial law, colorable law. When you're talking about real law, you talk about sovereign of the land. You talk about real law, you talk about the Constitution. You talk about the peace treaty. You talk about universal laws, real law. When you talk about colorable law, you're talking about status. You got status. Then you got geographical location. You got the adjudications, and they can adjudicate you if they get past status. So we're gonna find out what is status. Status deal with identity, your identity, your identity. We're not talking about someone who came up out of a crayon box. Colored people that you've been branded with since 1776. But it started back with 1724 Christian black codes. You understand me? So I'm gonna teach you a little law today. So when these corporate PAs and these corporate security guards come to you with these colorful laws, which is not law, you can defend yourself. All right. Now, here, let's get started here. We're going to talk about artificiality laws, and we're going to talk about true law. Okay. Now, colorable artificiality is fraud, but legally, for corporate fraud European courts, they use word of art to make you believe that their law is on the table. When you walk into their courthouse or room, but not true. Law can only be used by people who are in their sovereign capacity. The Emancipation Proclamation of 1863 did not set any slaves free. It is just a public announcement by elected officials. Right? Emancipation is not a law. The only thing they did was standardize slavery. And other nations around the world, as they reduce their people from their sovereign capacity and force them to join nation states, then they were able to issue statutes, codes, ordinance, resolutions on them. And a statute is not a law. It is a corporate policy of the corporation that calls itself the U.S. corporate state. A code is not a law. U.S. codes, the codes of the laws of the U.S. corporate state that they are using federal court and the Supreme Court are not law. They are what they say they are. Codes, ordinance, and resolution of the municipalities of the cities of whichever city of state in which you are in. The private non-profit corporation that calls itself the city of whatever city you are in ordinance and a resolution as in parking ordinance, they are not law. Alright, let's continue here. They are what they say they are. Ordinance, codes, and resolutions. And the reason they are not law because the only people who can issue law are people who are acting in their sovereign capacity. And the Europeans are not sovereign to the American continent. Those Europeans are in corporate ward status, meaning that they are wards of the state. They are members of the corporation that calls themselves the state of. All right. They use things like when they say, "What is your address?" or "resident" or "citizen" or "your name." Or they might say Mr. or Mrs. Or they might say this street, or they might say a person must have this or that to bring you into their jurisdiction. If they don't say natural person, they are talking about a corporation. Then law does not apply. Their law does not apply to you when you're in an artificial court. Their laws, when you go into their court, if they're not talking about Article 6 of the Constitution, then they're not talking to the Moors. Get yourself out of there. That has nothing to do with you. All right? Now, what I want to do, let's see here, is give you some abbreviation and definition of some words so you can understand where you're at. All right? Now, appropriate persona, listen to this. In one's own proper person, it was formerly a rule in pleading that pleas to the jurisdiction of the court must be pleaded in propria persona, because if pleaded by attorney, they admit the jurisdiction as an attorney is an officer of the court, and he is presumed to plead after having obtained leave which admits the jurisdiction. Alright? So you don't need that attorney. Right there, he's going to give you over to corporate state slave status. Alright? Now, what is sui juris? Sui juris, let's see what it is. Of his own right, possessing full social and civil rights, not under a legal disability or the power of another or guardianship, having capacity to manage one's own affairs, not under a legal disability to act for oneself. Okay? All right, let me finish it off with this. Status is key in all society on the planet Earth. Remember, honor your mothers and fathers is key to your existence and identity, and without it, you have no freedom. So you better be who you say you are, an identity. All right? Now, let's see. Lawfully and propria persona, sui juris. When you state this, it means you are saying to the world that I am well prepared, well disciplined, well knowing in the laws of science. Not the law, but jurisprudence to govern my affairs, unencumbered and allodial in my thinking. Okay? So I just wanted to bring some basic information to you about what is law and what is artificiality law. Okay? Now, there's only two courts. There's a criminal court and there's a civil court. Criminal court is when you have robbed, beat up, physically harm someone. That's criminal. All right. A civil court is when someone is suing you. Maybe you owe someone, or they owe you, or you damage someone's property, and they're going to sue you to regain their estate, or whatever you think that, whatever you damage they thought that was worth. They want to sue you on that. So what is traffic court? Traffic court, they want to bring you to the criminal jurisdiction. Criminal, they're saying that you're a criminal in traffic court, so you're being sued, or they want to fine you or give you time for something that you did in driving your car, walking, they say, against the light in the street. So if you under their contract of the birth certificate, and you're going with the name of Smith, Jones, Davis, Neal, Green, black or blue, all these names apply to the jurisdiction of the corporate state. The corporate fraud European that's occupying America is not law. They're not real law. It's artificiality law for colored people. So if you call yourself colored, then you're part of their jurisdiction. If you call yourself a Christian, you're part of their jurisdiction. When they ask you your name and you respond to that, you put yourself in their jurisdiction. You have an address and they ask you your address and you respond to that, you put yourself in their jurisdiction. You understand me? So what you need to do, Negro, black, color, black Indian, African American, so-called Christian, is claim your sovereignty to the land. Claim your naturalness of a person, not a corporation. They got to say natural person to you when they're talking to you. Otherwise, you usually say you don't know what they're talking about. You understand me? When you drive in your car, if you got a driver's license, that's a contract. They can sue you. They can charge you for parking tickets. Charge you for not registering your car to the state or whichever state you're in. When you walk across against somebody and you show them that you have a California ID or whatever ID it is, and you see your name is written in capital letters, that should let you know that they're dealing with a corporation. It's legal for them to do that. But if you claim your sovereignty, you understand me, to this land, or as a sovereign person to anywhere you go in the world, you claim your sovereignty, then those ordinances don't belong to sovereign people. If you read the Peace Treaty, 1787, Moors, Negro, blacks, and colored are Moors. If you don't know it now. You're a Moor. You're a Moorish American. You're American. That's a Moor. You're a Moor that's in America. That's who you are. And once you learn what law really is, then you understand what I'm talking about. You understand the difference between allodial rights and feudal rights. You understand the difference between Jewish. You understand the difference between Jew. Can't pick up it right now. Jewish and de facto. De facto means it's not law. You understand the difference between those two laws. And once you start to study, then you would know the difference between what these laws are and what the laws are not. All right? So what I want to get your mind to is to study laws. Go into you can download on the computer about Moore's law, and then you'll understand the difference between the law that you're dealing with to free yourself from these corporate state laws, to free yourself from these quotable courts. They're not real courts. They're fraud courts. All right? I just wanted to bring that basic information back to you to free your mind and to free your body from these wards of the state. So basically, you're just a slave. You're a ward of the state. You're a part of corporate America. All right? So I'm going to let you go right now with that. I self-law and master. Remember to master who you are and identity. If you don't master your identity, you don't know your history, you don't know your forefathers' history, you don't know who you are, you're going along with corporate America, who they tell you they are to study. Look at Black History Month. You're a Christian. Look at African Americans being here, and if you fall into the colorful game, then you're caught up in the trap. They got you. They're not here to look out for your inalienable rights. They're trying to enslave you. That's what they're trying to do. They're not looking at real law. They're trying to get money from you, one way or the other. All right. I'm out. I self-law and master.